I got a clip here to play for you, Tony. I'm not sure if you've seen this yet, this story about Aaron Rodgers being told that he's no longer a Jet.
We start talking, he runs out of the room. I'm like, that's kind of strange. Then he comes back with the GM. So we sit down in the office. I think we're going to have this long conversation. I've flown across the country. And 20 seconds in, he goes, literally, I'm talking to the GM about something, and he leans to the edge of his seat and goes, so do you want to play football? And I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And he said, we're going a different direction at quarterback. And I said, and I was kind of shocked. Now, I'm not shocked because I didn't think that was a possibility. Listen, of course, they want to move on, that's totally fine. But shocked because I just flew across country. You could have told me this on the phone. If we weren't even going to have a conversation, and this is verbatim exactly how it happened. So I said, huh? And he goes, we just want to know how you want it released, the messaging. And I said, verbatim, I don't give a shit about the message. And I said, why? And then he said, I don't want to be up in front of the room saying something and have guys looking back at you.
Interesting.
And I said, what does that even mean? Are you assuming that I would be in the back of the room during a team meeting undermining what you're saying? I said, you don't know me. And he said, you don't know me. And then I said, exactly, which is why I flew across the country to have a face-to-face meeting with you to talk about my experience with the Jets and to hear your vision for the team. 20 seconds in. What I thought was going to be a couple-hour meeting turned into like a 15-minute meeting, and I walked out of there. But
so at that moment,
that was a strange meeting for sure. There was no me pleading like, please have me on the team. No,
I don't know.
Well, I don't want any part of that. It was already a debacle.
Anyways, you get the point. The meeting was awkward. Aaron Glenn basically didn't know how to break this news to Aaron Rodgers, is the read I get on this. But the internet is going crazy and cooking the Jets as they always cook the Jets and talking about what a shitty franchise they are and how maybe they could learn a thing or two from Aaron Rodgers. But I want to go the other side of this because I'm tired of getting burned by my Aaron Rodgers fandom. I've backed Aaron Rodgers basically my entire freaking life, Tony. And my question now at this point is basically, why? Why? Why do you need to tell the story? Why does anyone need to know about your interactions with Aaron Glenn and the Jets on the way out the door? No one really needed this. It feels like Aaron Rodgers always, at every stop that he's had, he said he doesn't care what people think, but at the same time has tried to put some kind of grip or some kind of narrative or some kind of spin on everything he's ever done. We can just keep these stories private. We don't need to hear about this meeting. There was no reason for this meeting or this story to be revealed on the Pat McAfee show other than Rodgers wants to make the Jets look dumb for letting the Hall of Famer go. And not only did they let him go, they also, flipped him off on the way out. That's basically why else are you telling the story?
So he's really smart and really savvy and understands everything that he's doing all the time, right? He's very calculated with that. Here's the way that I look at this is it's like, if he is going to get cut, he wants to be able to control the narrative in some way because he's basically just been fired. And when you are a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about it, top 5 for a lot of people to ever play the position, he wants to have some say in how this actually went down. And what that interaction that he's describing is exactly why they wanted to move on. Because they don't want this in the middle of the season and things are going bad to him to be doing a guest appearance on a show like the McAfee show. Mm-hmm. And then things like this are happening. They want to try to create a normal football condition, which is already so tough in a place like New York. So now it's like you're proving their point by going on here and talking about a closed door meeting. This is what they don't want to have. And I'm trying to think of, I think it was Hard Knocks the first year. He's in the back of the room and they have a guest, one of those Oz, the mentalist guy. And he's in the back of the room there. So it's not like you don't ever sit in the back of meetings or anything like that. He knows that he has to compete with the attention of the star quarterback. And he wants the guy, the Justin Fields type guy, that is going to be like, hey, I'm in the front row. I'm here. I'm taking notes on all this stuff. Like, I'm engaged on what the messaging is. And the ultimate, Mike, I text this to you after I watched some of the clips from this thing. The ultimate thing that has to happen is they need to hit on Justin Fields. If Justin Fields can be a top 12-ish, 15-ish quarterback, and he can have some consistency where he's winning more games than he's losing, the Jets are going to be just fine. They're going to be better than they've ever been if he has more of those high moments that he had when he was with Chicago than the low moments he had when he was there. They'll be just fine. They'll look like geniuses for signing him to this contract if he comes out there and is rushing for 1,000 yards, not turning the ball over, playing like he was at the beginning of the season last year for Pittsburgh. If it's that quarterback, the Jets will be in the playoff conversation come December if that's the Justin Fields they're getting.
Yeah, and they're sitting pretty in the draft, too. They're in a good spot, man. They're going to have some options to either really add to their defense or add a star player to their offense. They're in a good spot in the draft. Yeah, it's interesting. And I think maybe Aaron Glenn could have just brought up one example. Robert Saleh. Just been like, did you not see what happened with that guy, Rodgers? Did you not see what happened to him? Like, promising young coach, up and coming. Like, everyone talking about the Jets defense and how if they can figure out the offensive side of the ball, the Jets defense is really good already. You think it just became really good overnight? No, they had someone build the damn thing, and then he got sent packing immediately within weeks of Rodgers being on the team, in the facility, and into a season. So, of course, Aaron Glenn is going to be worried about that happening to him, a young defensive coordinator who flipped a defense in the place he was at before and got the job. Like, of course he's going to be worried about the exact same thing happening to him. Also, with the whole, like, I don't care. He said straight up, I don't care what the narrative is about me being cut. But at the same time, like you're saying, he's taking action to control the narrative. While he says in your face to the camera, look straight at it, it says, I don't care about the narrative. But here's this private meeting and how it went down between Aaron Glenn that the Jets never planned on talking about. It's like, what? What are we talking about? You just said two opposite things to the camera, sir.
So in defense of Aaron Rodgers, I don't think he liked some of the messaging coming out where it sounded like he was begging the Jets to play there.
Yeah, because, but he's got to stop saying that he doesn't care about the messaging then. He's got to say he does care about the messaging, and they were wrong.
Yeah, but if he didn't care, he would just retire and he would just go away, and he wouldn't even be doing any of this.
He's only playing still to kind of like not go out on that, right? I'm kind of after this, like, I'm not sure that he's playing football anymore. I think he's... That's what I was going to ask next. Like, what are his options here? His options seem like it's Steelers, Vikings, or retirement. He's waiting on the Vikings to decide if they're rolling with JJ right now, if they want to wait one more year. And if they decide to go with JJ, he's probably going to go to the Steelers or retire. But if the Steelers, let's say, draft Shedeur Sanders, or I don't know if that's going to affect their in or out on Aaron Rodgers. Let's say the Steelers QB situation closes, the Vikings closes, all that leaves is retirement.
So I think there was another comment in there I saw where he's like, oh, I would play for $10 million. I think that number is more so for the Vikings than it is for the Steelers. Yeah, I think that $10 million is I would play for $10 million for the Vikings. The Steelers situation to me is like he's earned this right. This is the thing that I don't like about what we do, is that he's played 20-something years, and the Steelers need him more than he needs them right now. He doesn't need to prove anything else. He's already multiple-time MVP, won all these games, has all these records. Like, if the guy wants to take time, and I hate the fact that I'm like defending Aaron Rodgers in this moment, like, let him sit around and wait for however long that he decides that it is that he wants to play. Now, you can say, well, that's kind of, he's not committed to the team, he's not all in, he's not doing this stuff or whatever. But we've seen other quarterbacks that are like this that will still have a great effect on the team, because I do think that once he's in and decided, his conviction level is to, I'm out here because I want to be great. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm committed to this thing. So I think that he's allowing the Steelers to go into the draft, and if they decide we want Shedeur, then I think he's just like, yeah, I'm not playing for the Steelers this year. And that's the part where it's at, where it's like, if you're drafting a quarterback, then I'm not coming in to deal with having a first-round rookie sitting behind me when I'm going into a new offense and I'm already going to have to make concessions about the certain ways the offense operates. I just don't see him being like, yeah, I'm going to go to a new situation and have to deal with this. Oh, I don't think he'd be bad to Shedeur. Like, I don't think he'd be mean, because he already knows what that feels like with the way he felt like Favre treated him, and reportedly that was the truth, that it wasn't a great situation. But he was, by all the things that I've seen, really great to Jordan Love. Like, he was really great to Zach Wilson. Like, he's not threatened by those guys. But does he want to do that in year, 21, or I don't even know what year it is for him? Like, I don't think that he wants to do that in a new stop. So if the Steelers draft defensively, then I see Rodgers saying, yeah, I'm going to go play for the Steelers this year. If they draft Shedeur, I think he's just like, I'll just see what happens. Maybe there's an injury, or maybe I just go and read books and walk on the beach and explore the world and do podcasts, whatever it is.
Yeah, he could do like a podcast just basically like every week where he just complains about how he could do better than all these guys. You know what I mean? And how he should be in the league and all this stuff. That would be perfect.
We'd watch it too.
I'll watch it. Yeah, I'll watch it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying every person watching this video would, but you would see the clips. They would be brought up on NFL, Good Morning Football and ESPN.
I have a feeling that when Rodgers starts a podcast, it's not going to be about football. That's what I have a feeling. It's going to be about anything but football, maybe. It might rarely be brought up that he was a football player.
He's still so tied to football. The best ways to get his podcast traction will be to talk about football still. Yeah.
I think I'm with you. I think that he wants to play for the Vikings. He wants to just go into a situation where he can immediately compete for a Super Bowl. It's the Vikings are in a situation where they can just kind of like 1 year it too. Hail Mary shot, try and go for it. I also think that the Steelers, not necessarily that they're in need of a leader, because they have Mike Tomlin, they have Cam Hayward, they have TJ Watt. They have guys there that are, quote unquote leaders. But I feel like the Vikings, they need someone to come in and play good quarterback like Sam Darnold did. They don't need him to do anything else but just sling the ball around. The Steelers do need like someone to orchestrate the offense, kind of take a reign of everything. The Vikings already have that all under control. This is a plug-and-play situation. Plug in a Hall of Fame quarterback with a bunch of freaking star-studded weapons and a Hall of Fame wide receiver, maybe the best we've seen of this generation. It could be special, and I think you're right. I think he's waiting on that situation. The Steelers thing is a backup plan, and he'll burn either one of them in half a second. And like you said, he has the right to, because he's Aaron Rodgers. I hate it to see guys' careers go down like this, though, Tony, where they're bouncing from team to team. I'm just used to, as a kid, like, these guys play for one team, and then that one team runs them into the ground, and then they're out. You know what I mean? And now all these guys, like, once you get past your first contract, it's almost like every player goes to a new team.
If you really think about it, Mike, that's not how the NFL has historically worked, right? Like, and
especially the quarterbacks, the quarterback position specifically. Like, I'm used to having half the league, those quarterback spots, to be steady. Like, even like the worst of the worst franchise quarterbacks, like your Andy Daltons, like these guys were just there. They were firmly planted in their spot. Derek Carr was a Raider forever. You can even talk about guys like Joe Flacco, who won the Super Bowl, of course, but then was a Raven for forever after that. I was more used to that as a kid, and now feels like there's 5 solid starting quarterbacks that no one's moving, and 25 spots that are fluxing.
So when I was a kid, Joe Montana ended up on the Chiefs, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, this guy couldn't stop winning Super Bowls for this team, and now he's not on the team. If Joe Montana could go somewhere else, everybody was up for debate, right? And then it just continued that way to happen. So, like, Tom Brady doesn't finish his career there. Like, Lamar Jackson likely will not play his last down for the Baltimore Ravens, and it will be exciting. I want to go on record as saying I would like Aaron Rodgers to be in the NFL next year. It is more entertainment and excitement for us than it is for him not to be in the league. So
I mean, I'd rather have him starting than Daniel Jones. That's for sure.
1,000%.
Yeah.
But who's to say that the Colts aren't in a situation where they get 5-6 weeks into camp and they're looking around each other going, what are we doing? We cannot go into the season with this as our quarterback duo. Phone call.
You want a team that'll give you $50 million for 1 year. Yeah,
the phone
That's the one. That's the one.
The Browns, depending on what they decide to do, they might look around and go, this can't be a situation for us here. Like, he might get that situation. And again, the injury. I don't think there's any reason that he needs to decide what he wants to do before the draft happens. He's too calculated, like I said at the beginning, to do something like that.
Yeah. We'll see how it all goes down with Aaron Rodgers. Again, let us know in the comment section what you think. Is one of your teams targeting Aaron Rodgers? Do you want Aaron Rodgers if you're a fan of the Vikings or Steelers or whatever team, or don't you want him?
Bill Flames, I went Mike on the mic. With something brand new, one time for your mind. He gave you fair warning. Now it's time to smack him in the mouth with that raw sports talk from the town. Sweet chin music to your favorite sportscaster.